If you are in the process of shopping or installing some raised fairings or some raised bodywork, and you are not sure about the type of fasteners required to properly secure the bodywork on the bike, look no further. Your best option will be the Dzus Pro Fasteners. They are reliable, they're solid, they're easy to install. So this is what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes. And at the end of the video, I will also show you how to install these fasteners on the bike. Welcome back, guys. My name is Marco Landry for those of you who haven't seen my videos before. And today, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to talk about the different type of quick release fasteners that are available for your raised body work. So let me give you a bit of background on why I did this video and what I've experienced so far. So I originally purchased some bodywork for my bike from ShakSkinz or from I1 Moto, and they have awesome product. Like, their products are phenomenal. You can look at my other videos in the card above and take a look at what I did with that bodywork and how easy it is to install. So everything so far has been working really well with the bodywork. However, I was not a big fan of the fasteners. The fasteners that come pre-mounted on the kit, because you have the option when you buy from ShakSkinz to get these fasteners installed on the bike for you. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to get this done because I didn't have to do anything. Well, it turns out that the fasteners that came with this body kit, I mean, they're good, but they're not great. And the reason why I don't think they are great is because they are very small. So you can see here that this thing is just like, it's a tiny little fastener. And they look really good, again, don't get me wrong. But quite often, when I was trying to connect the two pieces of fiberglass together, I had to squeeze this very hard in order to clip this in place. So I figured that because on my R6, I have the original Dzus fasteners and they work quite well. So I figured I would buy some bigger fasteners and mount them on this bodywork. So what I did as a first step, and probably my first mistake, is that I ordered some quick release fasteners from ProBolt USA. And for those of you who know me, I'm a big fan of ProBolt. They have great products. I have a lot of fasteners on my bikes from ProBolt. I have like titanium bolts, I got body bolts in aluminum and stainless steel, you know, you name it. I got pretty much all of their products on my various bikes. However, I got some fasteners, some quarter-turn fasteners from them because I was ordering some other stuff, and I figured, you know what, a quarter-turn fastener is probably the same thing everywhere. They have the same quality. It should be fairly standard. Well, it turns out it's not true at all. You know, there's different quality out there. So this is the type of fasteners that I got from ProBolt. The type of fastener is a Panex fastener. So similar to the one on the ShakSkinz, this is the same concept. You have your fastener that goes into a Panex receptacle, and you have these little teeth in the back that will grab onto your fastener. So the fastener, or this type of fastener, has a slot or a groove that is parallel to the tip of the fastener. So the way they attach is that you basically just insert your fastener through the fiberglass, and this piece would be connected on the inside of the internal piece of fiberglass. So you go through the two layers of fiberglass, and then this would attach to, it would simply attach to this fastener. So you see here on the side view that you just go in, and when you are in that hole, you just turn and lock in place. That's why we call them quarter turn fasteners or quick release fasteners, because you only need a quarter turn in order to lock it in place. So far so good. Fasteners are good. I had a bit of dilemma because in order to mount this on the bodywork, the holes here were larger than the holes for the ShakSkinz, because the ShakSkinz fasteners were a little bit smaller. And you can see here that this is the back plate for the ShakSkinz pre-mounted fasteners, and obviously they're much narrower in width. So when you look at those side by side, you can see that those holes, the spacing between the place where you rivet that fastener, it's a lesser distance than this one. So I had to re-drill some new holes in order to attach this properly on the bodywork. Which was not a big deal. I was kind of expecting that, because obviously you have a bigger fastener, you'll need a bigger back plate or a bigger receptacle in order to make this work. And just to give you some perspective as well, so this is the ShakSkinz unit that came with the bodywork, and this is the unit that came from ProBolt. So you can see the difference in size. I mean, there's quite a big difference. So my initial feeling was that that's going to be a lot easier to grip and to connect to the bodywork. So I ordered a bunch of these from ProBolt, and I ordered specifically the stainless steel model. And you can see this is a stainless steel model with the D clip. And what happened with this is that when I was installing these on the bodywork, first time was okay. I mean, I drilled everything, I put the fasteners on, it was working okay. However, as soon as you apply a bit of pressure on that D-ring, they pop out. So you can see here, this is a damaged unit. So the D-ring at the top became loose. And then it's a bit of a struggle to remove the fastener from the receptacle because there's not a lot of grip. I was trying to use my finger, and because it was so tight, I had to use some pliers, and finally got it out of the receptacle or the hole or the plate. So I called ProBolt because I broke 4 of them in no time. So I called ProBolt, I explained my scenario, and they were very helpful, and they said, you know what, we're going to ship you some new fasteners free of charge. I already purchased quite a few of them, and I said that I didn't really want to have those stainless steel unit anymore. I would prefer to have the titanium fasteners because in my mind I thought they would be more solid. So they shipped me some titanium fasteners that are silver as opposed to black because they were out of stock for the black unit. So I said, okay, that's fine. I'll go with the silver titanium one. And at the same time, I also ordered some aluminum options as well. And the nice thing about the aluminum is that that D-ring is bigger than the units, the stainless steel units or the titanium units. So you can see here, there's quite a big difference between those two. I replaced the stainless steel unit on the bike with the titanium option. And after mounting it and removing it a few times, that's what happened again. So they broke, a few of them broke really rapidly after mounting them a couple of times. So I've installed the aluminum one, tested the aluminum one, and the aluminum one seemed to last much better and much longer than the other units. However, and this is maybe just me thinking this way, but the problem with this is that you have an aluminum fastener that's connecting to a stainless steel plate or receptacle. So with time, they would probably use up a bit faster. So I was not really keen on this option, even though they were working well. So I decided to order the Dzus Pro fastener with the Panex tip. Well, the tip of that fastener is the same size as the ProBolt unit. So I was able to leverage my same plates that I had on the bike, and basically, it was working like a charm. And the beauty about the Dzus brand of fastener is that D-ring here is so solid. I've never broke one of them before. And if they were to break, the nice thing about it is that you have this little slot here that you can take a flathead screwdriver to remove them. In my opinion, that's a really good design. So overall, I really like these. I know the Panex Dzus fasteners are great. I am concerned about the receptacle, and the receptacle can be from anywhere, from any vendor. It doesn't really matter. The challenge that I have with these receptacles is that over time, they will introduce a degree of variability that's hard to control. And what I mean by this, that this back plate here, when you attach and detach this multiple times, and when you squeeze it really hard, or if you press on it to try to connect it, this back plate will move back and forth. And if it's moving forward, obviously you will need to add some extra nylon or plastic washers to shim the extra space between the head of the bolt and the body work. Or if it's being pushed back, then obviously your bolt will be tighter on the body work. So that's what I don't really like about this, this extra degree of variation that will be introduced over time. And the last thing I want to do when I'm at the racetrack is to have to worry about my bodywork not being properly secured. So overall, I was quite happy with the Dzus Panex fasteners. I think they are very reliable. They're solid. They won't break. I can guarantee you they won't break. And the fact that I could leverage the plate that was already in place, I didn't have to replace any of the plates and re-rivet anything on the bodywork, that made me happy. That was a bonus. So just to recap, I had the ProBolt receptacle, the Panex receptacle, with the Dzus Panex fasteners. That was my setup. And again, I was happy with it, but I didn't feel that the grip was as optimal as my original Dzus fasteners that I have on my other bikes. So instead of having to worry about this and just having to muck around with these fasteners, I decided I would remove everything and I ordered some Pro Dzus fasteners instead. And the difference between the Pro version and the Panex version is the receptacle is slightly different. And the bolt itself as well, or the fastener is also different. And the main difference is in the tip of the fastener. So you can see here that the tip of this fastener has a groove on top. So it's a slotted head as opposed to a groove that's parallel to the tip. So this one, the way it's attaching is that you take, this is a receptacle by the way, so this is an S-spring bar, and you take your S-spring and you rivet it with these little holes. So you use these mounting eyes to rivet this on your bodywork. So they don't take a lot of room and you can mount them pretty much anywhere. So that's the beauty about using these. And the way they connect to your fastener is that you basically just align it in the middle of the bar, and then you just do a quarter turn and they lock in place. So this is how it's attached to that S-spring bar. And this is like bulletproof. Okay, I've been using this on my R6 at the racetrack for multiple years. Never broke one of these. And they still grab very well. So all my bikes are equipped with this, and they take a lot of abuse because I can mount and dismount these multiple times over the course of one day. So that's why now this is my option, my preferred option for my bikes. If you don't like the idea of using these S-spring mounting clip, you can also use an option where you already have the S-spring riveted that comes already pre-riveted onto a metal plate. So the way this is working is basically you take this and you slide this over top of your bodywork. So I'm just taking this piece of paper here to mimic that behavior. But the way it's working is that you just need to drill your hole and you slide this receptacle on top of your bodywork. And the way it's working basically is that you're just going to go through the various layers of fiberglass and you just line up the holes and it will grab in the back. This is definitely an option that could work for most people. The reason why I don't like this as much is that you are limited in the positioning of the holes for your bodywork, right? Because here you can see that I can't go any further than the distance between the top and the top of my fairing or my bodywork to here. So this is where the holes needs to be exactly at that place. So you can't go any further down. So let's say you have a bent in your bodywork, or you have a curve, or even if your fiberglass is a bit more, if it's thicker, sometimes those are a bit more difficult to install or to mount. So that's why, again, my preferred option is definitely the S-spring. And the way it's mounted on the bike, so you can see I've already pre-mounted one here. So you can see the size difference between the original one from ShakSkinz, and this is the one that I just installed. So this is the original Dzus fastener, or the Pro fastener, I should say. So if I remove these clips here, just show you what it looks like on the inside. So you can see my fastener is here, and this is how it's been mounted. You basically have to drill 3 holes, right? You'll drill your hole in the middle, and then you have the 2 holes on each side for the pop rivet. And that pop rivet will go through there, and it will grab the S-spring in the back. And that's how you keep everything in place. And when it comes time to attach the bodywork, you will need a hole on the outer part of the bodywork, and you line up the holes, and after the holes have been lined up, you simply take your fastener, go through and quarter turn, and that's it. Then you now have a secure piece of bodywork that's attached to the other piece of fiberglass. So this is how you secure everything in place. And you can see it's nice, it's tight. I don't even have any nylon spacers or plastic washers between the head of the fastener and the bodywork. So it's solid and it's reliable, and this is definitely the way to go. And before I show you how to do this on the bike, there's one other thing that I want to mention as well. When you install these S-spring, the beauty about these S-springs is that you can, I call this cheating, but you can go this way. So that would be one way of doing it, where your fastener is mounted like this, and that bar is almost flush to your bodywork. If you need to have more grip and you want to avoid having some washers or some spacers, I normally just turn them around, and now you can see that there's more room between the bodywork and the bar or the S-spring. And that allows me to have a much tighter compression of the 2 pieces of fiberglass together. Or if you need to have a fastener that goes through a piece of fiberglass, or a couple of pieces of fiberglass that are thicker, or maybe you need to use this fastener to attach a piece of fiberglass to a piece of metal, you can also order some longer fasteners as well. So this is a 45 and this is a 35, and you can see there's a considerable difference in length. You have the option of choosing different lengths, so that could be helpful as well. And obviously, if you're in between the two, then you would just simply use some of these plastic washer or spacer to give yourself some extra buffer to make sure that everything is compressed properly in place. Having said that, I've been talking enough for now. We're gonna move over to the bike, and I'll show you how to install these S-spring bar on the bike. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna remove the upper fairing, the lower fairing, and once all of these fairings are removed, I'll be able to drill the rivets out of the Panex plates, and I'll be able to mount the new spring bars for the Dzus Pro fasteners. So what I'm going to do next is that I'll remove those rivets that are holding the Panex plates in place. So I'd initially drilled sideways because these two holes, the two small holes there, were used for the original ShakSkinz fasteners. And in order to attach the new one, because they're wider, as you saw earlier, I had to put the plate sideways to have more width or more space to be able to drill those. So I'll remove these. And the good news now is that the spring bar will fit in the two original holes that were already drilled in there. So I won't have to drill anything else, and I'll mount everything after that and test to make sure that it fits properly. So basically I have a small drill bit. I'll just center it in the middle of the pop rivet. I'll just drill and it should allow me to release the fasteners. All right, so we got one down, 3 more to go. So with the S-spring, you will receive some pop rivets, and the pop rivets are a bit small or a bit short. So you can see here, this is the eye of the S-spring bar, and when I insert my pop rivet through this, you can see that the distance is very, very short. The distance where that pop rivet is protruding is very short. It doesn't give you a lot of room to anchor properly on the body work. So normally what I end up doing is that I take some longer pop rivets, and this is what I'm going to use instead of this one, so you can see the size difference. So this one also has a larger diameter. So this one is 1/8, this is 1/16, and I don't know the length of this one, but obviously you can see this one is much longer, and it will allow me to grab this properly. The only problem that you will have with this one is that the eye is too small. So this eye has been designed for a 1/16 diameter pop rivet, and this one is 1/8. So you need to expand this eye by 1/16 of an inch. So you can see here that the eye is very small. And in order to expand the size of the eye, I normally just take the pointy end of my screwdriver. I insert this into the eye, and I'll just tap on the head of the screwdriver to expand that hole. So I basically just take this, put it on a piece of wood, take my screwdriver, and I'll just tap it a few times. Until I'm sure that everything's going to fit. So now I'm going to try to fit it. It's still too small. So I'll go one more time. So now I have a perfect fit. So you can see that it fits perfectly. There's not a lot of extra play. So I'll do this on the other side as well. And then we will be good to install that first rivet. Here we go. So now both of them fit properly. So I'll do a few more, and then we'll start installing these on the bike. Okay, so now it's time to install the S-spring bar on the bodywork. And as I mentioned earlier, I will leverage the holes that have been made previously for the ShakSkinz fasteners, because the eyes of the spring will align perfectly with those two holes. I'm not really worried about these 2 extra holes because they're going to be covered by the bodywork or the lower fairing. So no one will see this, and it doesn't really bother me, so I'll just leave it as is for now. So we're going to line this up properly. I'll just put the pop rivet in first and go through the eye. And I'll take my other rivet, make sure that everything is nice and properly align before I do anything or any riveting. All right, so before you finalize the riveting, just make sure that the bar is properly centered in the middle of that hole. And before I do so as well, the other thing that I want to do is make sure that the stud of the ProBolt fastener will fit through there. So I'm just going to take this first and make sure that the hole is big enough, and yes, so the tip of the stud will fit through that hole, and you can see it's a bit wider, so there's some extra room, and that's fine. You want some extra room on the internal hole. The external hole can be a bit tighter, but this one, it's totally fine if there's a bit of play. So now I'm just going to take my riveting gun and put this in place. All right, so one down. All right, so everything is still properly aligned, and we will do the second one. All right, so we have one down, 3 more to go. And before I assemble the other one, we will just take the lower fairing and see if it fits properly. So perfect. It's a perfect fit. It's solid, and I won't need any extra spacers to add between the bolt and the fairing. So it's nice and tight, and yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'll keep going with the other rivets now. All right, so we got 2 down, 2 more to go. So we have all the clips mounted. So now I'll just install the bodywork. I'll install the upper fairing, lower fairing, and we'll see if we have a good fit. All right, now it's the moment of truth. Let's see how it fits. All right, guys, so the lower fairing and upper fairing are now connected by or via the Dzus Pro Fasteners. Overall, it's perfect. It works really well. So you can see that I can easily connect and disconnect these fasteners with no issue at all. So a big difference from what I had before. So I'm super happy with this. The only thing that bugs me a little bit is that there's a slightly bigger gap here. So it's slightly wider than what I was hoping for. So what I'm going to do, I have to do some fiberglass, and when I do the fiberglass, I'll patch this hole, and when it dries up, I'll re-drill a hole slightly higher so that I lose this gap. So it's perfect on your side. It's only on this side that there's a gap that bugs me, and I just really want it to be perfect. That's it for the upper and lower fairing. I just finished installing as well all the fasteners on the tail of the bike. So there was 7 of them. And now, because that was set up, or the cover was set up for the smaller fasteners, so these holes have to be a bit bigger because the stud of the Dzus Pro fastener doesn't fit in there yet. So I'll just take my my step drill bit and I'll make these holes, the diameter of these holes slightly bigger in order to fit this properly. All right, so now we just need to make sure that everything fits properly, and then I'll mount this on the bike after. All right, so everything fits perfectly. I just wanted to double check this before I mount it on the bike, because with the smaller fasteners that were there initially, it wasn't as wide, so I wasn't sure if the D-ring here would get in the way, but it works out perfectly. So it's a bit tight. I don't foresee any issues, even though it's touching or rubbing on the side of the cover. That's going to be fitted on the bike shortly. But before I do that, I will need to do a bit of fiberglass, because with the Dzus Pro fasteners and with the S-clip, I will need to re-drill some holes here. So these holes were initially drilled for the Panex type of fasteners. These are the holes that I drilled myself. Those were not drilled by ShakSkinz. So I initially installed the ProBolt Fastener receptacle, and they are obviously wider than the eyes for the S-spring. So even though I tried to put this there, I would need to drill another hole too close to the external hole, so it wouldn't be strong enough. So I'm gonna end up patching all of this with some fiberglass again, and then I'll re-drill, because the holes are very close to the edge of that lip here, and I can't go sideways with my S-clip because I don't have any place to grab it, because there's a little ledge that goes inside here and it doesn't give me enough clearance to install my S-clip. That's going to be a bit of extra work, but again, I needed to do some body work in front of the bike to patch a few holes for my windshield, and just do all of this at the same time. So I'll patch all of this up and also repatch this hole here. So I'm going to do quite a bit of body work on some brand new fairings, but I guess it's been a learning experience, and I'll know next time. Hopefully the video will benefit you guys and you won't have to make the same mistake and do some fiberglass as a result of all these trial and errors. All right, guys, that's it for the project. Everything's done. I still have a few things to do, obviously, as I mentioned earlier. There's probably going to be 1 or 2 more videos on bodywork. Hopefully this video was convincing enough that you will buy some Dzus Pro fasteners for your bike. If you are looking for a great spot to buy these fasteners, I highly recommend curvygirl.com. This is where I got all my fasteners. I am by no means associated with curvygirl.com. I've just ordered from them multiple times. I've always had great experiences, so I'm more than happy to recommend their services and their products. So look them up. Website will be below. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, shoot me a note and I'll be happy to have a conversation. So until then, take care and I'll see you soon.